House will come to order. Please join Representative Judah in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Shebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Amabile. Representative Amabile. Bacon. Baisley. Benavidez. Rep. Benavidez is excused. Burnett. Rep. Burnett's excused. Byrd. Bockenfeld. Basenecker. Bradfield. Caravale. Carver. Catlin. Cutter. She's here. Doherty. Duran. Esgar. Exum. Froelich. Geithner. Gonzalez Gutierrez. Gray. Hanks. Herod. Holtorf. Hooten. Representative, Hooten is here. Judah. Kennedy. Kip. Larson. Lindsay. Lontine. Rep. Lontine is excused. Luck. Lynch. McCluskey. McCormick. McKean. McLaughlin. Michelson Janae is excused. Mullica. Rep. Mullica is excused. Neville. Ortiz. Pelton. Pico. Ransom. Rich. Ricks.
Present.
He's on the wall. Roberts. Sandridge is excused. Sirota. Snyder. Soper.
Here.
Sullivan. Tipper. Titone. Valdez A. Valdez A is excused. Valdez D. Van Beber. Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams.
Here.
Woodrow. Woog. Young. Mr. Speaker.
With 62 present and 3 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Judah. Majority Leader Escar.
I move the Journal of Tuesday, March 16th, no, March 15th, be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
That is a proper motion.
I've not done that in about 7 years.
Yeah, that's That is a proper motion. Members, the question before us is the adoption of the journal as corrected by the chief clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. It is Wednesday. That was a hearty no, but the ayes do clearly have it and the motion's approved. Announcements and introductions. Representative Weissman.
I don't know why I'm still doing that. Thank you and good morning, Mr. Speaker. This is an announcement about Judiciary Committee's work today at 1:30 in room 107, which is the downstairs room. We will meet and we will hear 4 bills. They are House Bills 1147, 1270, 1272, and 1288. See everybody there at 1:30. Thank you.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Education Committee, once again, if you look on your calendar, you will see where we're going today and tomorrow, and there's no changes to it. See you there.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted everyone to know that there are students and educators from the St. Vrain Valley School District in the building today. Unfortunately, I think they're over there in that other room. So they're going to miss all the fun, but if you see them walking around, please welcome them. Thank you.
Representative Tatone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow, members, 8 a.m., Joint Technology Committee will be hearing some consideration of some draft legislation for OIT and CDHS. So if you're interested in what we're doing, come down to 352 and 8 o'clock and we'll talk about it.
Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Transportation and local government. One fabulous, exciting bill at 1:30 today in LSBA. Senate Bill 83 from our own Representative Catlin.
Representative Montine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Health and Insurance members. So today we do actually have a committee hearing, and we've got a really exciting agenda today. We'll hear House Bill 1263, House Bill 1064, House Bill 1015, and House Bill 1136. Committee starts at 1:30, and we will be across the way in the old State Library. Please be on time. I look forward to seeing all your shining faces. Thank you.
Representative Tatone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, again. Hey, everybody, just wanted to tell you I've got a student shadow here from Ralston Valley High School. He's sitting over there on the side. It's Brendan. So if you have some time, say hello to him. He's here to learn about what we do here in the People's House, and appreciate if you said hello to him. Thanks.
Any further announcements and introductions? Representative A. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members of Energy and Environment, we will not be meeting today. We will not be meeting today. So Energy and Environment, have a good afternoon.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Business Affairs and Labor Committee, we are meeting today upon adjournment. We have 2 bills, 1261 and 1262.
Further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1139.
House Bill 1139 by Representatives Geithner and Hooten, also Senators Bridges and Heisey, concerning prohibiting a unit owners association of a common interest community from regulating the use of a public right-of-way.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, we are starting third reading. I move House Bill 1139 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1139 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. For those participating online, Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Please close the machine. With 48 aye votes, 15 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1139 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to Senate Bill 92.
Senate Bill 92 by Senator Gardner, also Representative Soper, concerning changes to the Colorado Probate Act.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 92 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 92 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 92 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Come on, co-sponsors. Here we go. One more. There we go. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to Senate Bill 20.
Senate Bill 20 by Senator Gardner, also Representative Tipper, concerning the addition of court reporters to the list of professionals who may administer oaths.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 20 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 20 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Snyder. Please. Golly. Please close the machine. 63 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused. Senate Bill 20 is adopted. Co-sponsors. We need that consent calendar. Man. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1224.
House Bill 1224 by Representatives Tipper and Soper, also Senator Gonzalez, concerning theft of public benefits.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1224 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1224 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Majority Leader. Please close the machine. 57 aye votes, 6 no votes, and 2 excused. House Bill 1224 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of Senate Bill 115.
Senate Bill 115 by Senators Huckes, Lewis, and Garner, also Representatives Sober and Tipper, concerning clarifying certain terms as the terms relate to a landowner's liability.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 115 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 115 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no objection, or seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Completes the Soper Tipper hat trick for this morning. Please close the machine. 62 aye votes, 1 no vote, and 2 excused. Senate Bill 115 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1025.
House Bill 1025 by Representative Bedavita is also Senator Kolker, concerning the repeal of infrequently used tax expenditures and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1025 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1025 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Lindsay. Please close the machine. With 39 aye votes, 24 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1025 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1093.
House Bill 1093 by Representatives McCormick and Will, also Senators Smallwood and Zenzinger, concerning the conduct of charitable gaming activity and in connection therewith modernizing the bingo and raffles law to accommodate the use of improved electronic aids and devices in the conduct of games of chance and making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1093 on third reading, final passage.
We still are on third reading, everybody. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1093 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Ricks, how do you vote? One more time, Representative Ricks, how do you vote? Representative Ricks? Oh. Representative Ricks will be marked Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Please close the machine. With 59 aye votes, 4 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1093 is adopted. Co-sponsors.
I learned to spell.
Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1098.
House Bill 1098 by Representatives Burton Bacon, also Senator Liston, concerning the elimination of barriers to obtaining authority to practice an occupation based on an individual's criminal history record and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1098 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1098 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1098 is adopted. Co-sponsors. It's only Wednesday. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1111.
House Bill 1111 by Representative Amable, also Senators Rankin and Fenberg, concerning insurance coverage for insured losses incurred as a result of a declared fire disaster and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1111 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1111 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative McLaughlin. Please close the machine. With 54 aye votes, 9 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1111 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1225.
House Bill 1225 by Representatives Hooton and Will, also Senators Fenberg and Hawkes Lewis, concerning the continuation of the Colorado Resiliency Office in the Department of Local Affairs and in connection therewith implementing recommendations contained in the 2021 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1225 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1225 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Duran and Caraveo. Please close the machine. With 42 aye votes, 21 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1225 is adopted. Co-sponsors.
No one. No one.
Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1252.
House Bill 1252 by Representative Burnett, also Senators Kirkmeyer and Hawkes Lewis, concerning provisions of public school contracts and in connection therewith specifying requirements and limitations for such provisions.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1252 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1252 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Van Beber, please close the machine. With 51 aye votes, 12 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1252 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1275.
House Bill 1275 by Representatives McLaughlin and Larson, also Senator Fields, concerning the continuation of the School Safety Resource Center Advisory Board and in connection therewith implementing the recommendation of the Department of Regulatory Agency Sunset Report.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1275 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1275 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Please close the machine. With 53 aye votes, 10 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1275 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of Senate Bill 26.
Senate Bill 26 by Senators Janal and Kirkmeyer, also Representatives Basenecker and Rich, concerning an oil and gas operator's sole ability to review and protest property tax.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 95 on third reading, final passage.
Majority Leader Esker. We're on Senate Bill 26.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Too much caffeine this morning. I move Senate Bill 26 on third reading, final passage.
Thank you, Majority Leader. That's a proper motion. The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 26 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 26 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of Senate Bill 95.
Senate Bill 95 by Senators Fields and Moreno, also Representatives Gonzalez, Gutierrez, and Bacon, concerning improving missing person investigations.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now I move Senate Bill 95 on third reading, final passage.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is just to put on the record the reason for my no vote. I agree with much of what's in this bill on how we're tightening up reports of missing persons, but what doesn't make sense to me is that in other instances, we require a missing persons report for a missing child in 2 hours in various circumstances. But if the child is in state custody, in a state facility, then it is 24 hours. This makes no sense to me. A child that is missing from a state institution where we have responsibility, we're going to wait 24 hours. So I appreciate the work of the bill sponsors, but that's the reason for my no vote.
Representative Luck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I share a similar concern. I do believe that it is a good bill otherwise, but I do share that same concern.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I apologize that I wasn't able to get back to Representative Luck and Representative Carver from committee, but I will tell you, members, that the concern that you're bringing to light, there's actually two different times. So the 2-hour notification is if I myself decide to, if I go to report that my child is missing, the 2 hours applies to law enforcement, that they have 2 hours to react. As it relates to children that are in out-of-home placement, it is the agency has 24 hours in which to report, and there is still the 2-hour requirement that law enforcement has to act. And so there is, I think, a little bit of a nuance there that I don't think we were able to completely get through in committee. So I just wanted to clarify that. I did receive clarification from the Department of Human Services, from the counties, and I think that one of the things that we came to is that if we wanted to change some of that language in statute as it relates to missing persons, specifically for children in out-of-home placement, as well as for runaways, that may be a different bill title that we would need to look into. And so I just want to assure you that there is a nuance there. The 2 hours still applies, in which when law enforcement is supposed to begin their investigation within the two hours that it is reported to them. And I ask for your support of this bill.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 95 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Please close the machine. With 46 aye votes, 17 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 95 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the following bills be made special orders today at 9:40 a.m. House Bill 1286, House Bill 1264, House Bill 1003, House Bill 1055, House Bill 1068, House Bill 1247, Senate Bill 34, Senate Bill 108.
Following bills listed by the Majority Leader will be made special orders this morning, Wednesday, March 16th. Representative Judah. Members, you have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Judah will take the chair.
I gavel first. The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1286.
House Bill 1286 by Representatives Esgar and Garnett, also Senators Moreno and Fenberg, concerning the payment of the expenses of the Legislative Department.
Madam Majority Leader Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1286 in the Appropriations Committee report.
What do I do? To the committee report. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Appropriations Committee report, we appropriated the funds necessary for the legislative budget. Ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1286.
The Appropriations Committee.
Sorry. Is the adoption of the appropriations report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee report is passed. To the bill. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I urge a aye vote on the Legislative Department budget. This includes the legislature and the service agencies, the Joint Budget Committee staff, the Legislative Council staff, and the Office of the Legislative Legal Services, the Office of the State Auditor, and all of our staff. So I would urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on 1286? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of 1286. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. 1286 passes. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of 1264.
House Bill 1264 by Representatives Valdez D. and Woodrow, also Senators Moreno and Woodward, concerning updating references to the Federal Food and Drug Administration in the health insurance law.
Representative Woodrow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1264.
To the bill.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. It is an honor to stand before you this morning with my dear friend, Rep. Valdez, as we continue the important work of the storied Statutory Revision Committee. Last week, we moved an apostrophe. Today, we're changing references from the Food and Drug Administration to FDA. Woo, woo. Colleagues, in 2020, we passed House Bill 1061, which included a newly defined term, FDA. But get this, we inadvertently left out 5 references to the full Food and Drug Administration in 5 separate places. This bill changes those references to FDA. Friends, if you like efficiency, if you like consistency, if you like our bills to be aerodynamic, this is the legislation for you. Good bill. Vote yes.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As my colleague mentioned, the Food and Drug Administration will be now FDA. So with that, I appreciate your support on House Bill 1264.
Hard-hitting stuff.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And, you know, we heard this bill in the Ag Committee, and it took us forever to get through this bill. We may have set a record in hearing this bill, but with that, I'm still a yes vote.
Representative Pico.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a good meal. You take a good bite out of the legislative process. Vote yes.
Well done.
Is there any further discussion?
I pray not.
Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1264. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. 1264 passes. Unigo. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of 1003.
So what do we do?
House Bill 1003 by Representatives Doherty and Gonzalez Gutierrez concerning creating a grant program to fund projects that reduce crime among youth.
Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1003 and the Appropriations Committee report and the Judiciary Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report. Representative Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We went to appropriations and received money.
Further discussion on the appropriations bill? A report? Seeing none. The question before us is the passage of the judiciary report. Appropriations report. Sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The appropriations report passes. To the judiciary report. Representative Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We ran an amendment in judiciary that clarified who can receive the grants. Most of it was technical language, and that is the judiciary report.
The question before us is the passage of the judiciary report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The judiciary report passes. To the bill. Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this bill establishes the Delinquency Prevention and Young Offender Intervention Pilot Grant Program. This will be over the course of 2 years that community-based organizations in partnership with local governments and other agencies can apply for these grant funds of upwards of $4 million over the course of 2 years. This is to help really to keep young people from entering the juvenile justice system, provide them with the types of services that they need in the community to hopefully keep them from entering that system. I ask for your support of House Bill 1003.
Representative Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, anything we can do to help juveniles before they enter the system is fantastic. Proud to bring this bill and ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1003? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of 1003. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. House Bill 1003 passes. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1055.
House Bill 1055 by Representatives Lontine and Harrod, also Senators Huckes, Lewis, and Winter, concerning sales and use tax exemption for essential hygiene products.
Are you ready? Where's your...
Madam Majority Leader. I call B. Frieslas. The committee will come back to order. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1055, one bill.
Seeing no objection, House Bill 1055 will be laid over. One bill. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1068.
House Bill 1068 by Representatives McCormick and Lynch, also Senator Huckes Lewis, concerning Medicaid reimbursement for therapy using equine movement.
Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
The honor is mine.
I'd like to move House Bill 22-1068
Appropriate and public and behavioral health.
and the Appropriations Report and the Public
And
Public
behavioral
Health Committee report as well.
To the Public and Behavioral Health
Committee report as
Committee
well.
report.
Thank you.
No approach? No approach. Okay.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Public Behavioral Health Committee, we added an amendment that will extend the implementation of this bill out 18 months to give our Health First Colorado time to implement the changes. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1068. All those in... Sorry. God. Is the passage of the Public and Behavioral Health Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it.
The report passes.
The committee report passes. To the bill, Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this bill will, currently our Colorado Medicaid program does not cover equine assisted therapy services. This is based on a past misidentification of equine therapy as being a separate service outside of standard occupational therapy, physical therapy, or speech language therapy. And this therapy that uses the horse and the movement of the horse is regarded as a scope of practice treatment tool for these professionals, the occupational therapists, the physical therapists, and the speech therapists. And so this bill will make the medical reimbursement available for therapy using equine movement as this tool. And 37 other states have already changed this classification, and it's time that Colorado joins those other states to allow our health professionals to be able to use the tools that they choose in the situations with their patients. This type of therapy benefits kids from age 2 all the way up through adults, and is super beneficial in many neurological problems that people have, sensory, motor, communication, motor deficits. So this is really an important correction to allow our patients that need these services to be reimbursed adequately with their therapists. And as a side note, if many of you visited some of the new buildings over at the National Western Stock Show campus this year, you will have seen the new CSU Spur building there. If you toured the building, there's a beautiful arena. If you go upstairs, there's a complete glass wall where you can look down on the equine arena and see many of these therapists in action with the horses and their patients. And it's just really, I highly recommend a visit over there to see how this particular tool is being used for Coloradans across our state.
Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd like to thank my co-sponsor for all of her hard work she's done on this. This is really exciting, especially, just like she mentioned, with CSU actually bringing that curriculum to the forefront, and really one of the forefronts in the whole nation for that sort of therapy. The thing I like about this bill is it doesn't, it just allows a therapist the freedom to use whatever tools they want that they feel is more appropriate in therapy, allows that to be paid for, whereas before it was not. This is really opens us up, really forefront in the nation, I think, especially with our CSU Center, to really be leaders in this field, and opens up equine therapy for those that can use it. It's a good bill. Vote yes.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just also wanted to make sure everyone knows that this legislation does not create a new or different type of therapy, and it does not seek or result in any new codes in our Medicaid coding manual or any difference in reimbursement rate. It really is just placing this therapy in the toolbox for these therapists to be able to use because it had been misplaced up till now. So we are fixing this, and I urge a yes vote.
Members, it's just getting a little too loud in here. If we could lower it a little bit. Representative Pelton. Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Heard this bill in committee. My mother-in-law actually owned one of these type of businesses. The kids with autism, it was amazing to see the progress they made going through this type of therapy, and they had nothing but success with all the people that tried it. So I'm 120% behind this bill, and I'd urge a yes vote.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the colleagues in the chamber. This type of legislation helps close the rural-urban divide. Because you see, in rural Colorado, we use horses almost every week of the year. And we understand the bond between humans and horses. And very much like the folks in the city that have pets, maybe a dog or a cat or a bird or some other pet that they care for and love, we hope. The horse is the same symbol. And the connection between humans and horses is probably stronger. As you interact with that horse and that horse interacts with you, for those of us that have been around animals since we were knee-high to a grasshopper, and the first time we saddled up at 5 years old, I will tell you that that relationship grows closer and closer every day of the year. Now, what you don't know about a horse is a horse can recognize you from a group of people. A horse identifies you individually. A horse knows what you look like and knows what you smell like. If you've been around horses as long as I have, that horse, when you step in the corral, will know who you are. And when you halter that horse and they smell you, they will confirm who you are, and they will begin that connectivity with you. Now, for mental health and other health therapies, there is nothing stronger once that bond is made. And it is proven scientifically and medically that the equine sciences and the relationship between humans and horses actually helps with therapeutic recovery. I am very proud of the bill sponsors, and as a card-carrying member of the Cowboy Caucus, I stand strong in support of this legislation. And as you know, we are trying to expand Medicaid coverage and Medicaid services and Medicaid reporting and Medicaid transparency. And this bill provides more tools, as the bill sponsor said, in the toolbox to help those people that oftentimes need help that human science cannot give them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Will.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
The honor is all mine.
I really question whether Representative Lynch should be running an equine bill after his episode this summer. But anyway, I just wanted to come up and say I support this strongly. There's nothing better for the inside of a person than the outside of a horse. Thank you.
Representative Caraveo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much to the sponsor for this bill. As a pediatrician, I've seen this type of therapy be incredibly helpful for patients, including some with really severe trauma that have gone from not wanting to speak to people anymore to just a year later really opening up and going back to being a normal child. So this is an incredible therapy, an incredible service, and I'm so thankful that you're making it easier to access.
Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also love this bill. In my almost 20 years of working with kids that are involved in juvenile justice and child welfare, we've been utilizing equine therapy that entire time. So it is not a new thing. And as Representative Carabello said, Dr. Carabello said, it is very helpful because it creates an ability for young people to be able to connect and to deal with trauma, to deal with the issues they're going through. And we've been using this for a year, even right here in this city. So this is really exciting that this will help further those needs along.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1068? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of 1068. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. 1068 passes. Are we going in order? Oh, sorry. Okay. Mr. Shebo, please read the title of House Bill 1247. We're going back, 1055.
House Bill 1055 by Representatives Lontine and Harrod, also Senators Huckes, Lewis, and Winter, concerning a sales and use tax exemption for essential hygiene products.
Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1055 and the Finance Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you. There were two amendments that were passed in the Finance Committee. One addressed the reporting to the state auditor and made it a more simple process. And the other one added clarity to make sure that it was clear that we had added adult incontinence products, and asked for an I report on the Finance Committee report.
Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee report passes. To the bill. Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I won't take long, but this is a really important bill, and I want to thank my bill sponsor for bringing this issue up multiple years, especially around the sales tax for feminine hygiene products. I am proud to also say that due to the advocacy and lobbying of so many women in this chamber and families in this chamber, particularly with young kids, we have also added the exemption for diapers. Colorado people today, we're hurting. Prices of groceries are going up. People can feel the cost of inflation in their pockets every single day. This is one thing that we can do to decrease costs and burden on families, and I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In 2017, I ran a bill to remove the state sales tax from period products, and in that same year, another member of this chamber ran a bill to remove the state sales tax from diapers for kids. Colorado was in a much different place fiscally that year, and both of those bills failed. This was the year we thought would be a good time for us to address this issue again, and we both felt, the other member as now a member of the Senate, that we should combine our issues. And I appreciate Rep. Harrod joining me on this issue, as she's also done some work on the issue of access to period products. We did believe that also adding the adult incontinence products also helped our senior Coloradans. And so just from a perspective of who does this help? This helps over 202,000 children under age 3 and their families, who spend about $80 per child per month on diapers. This helps about 1.5 million girls and women between the ages of 12 and 55, and their families, who spend $15 per person per month. And this helps some 850,000 older adults who spend as much as $240 per month per person on incontinence products. I believe that ending the sales tax on these essential items sends a message that Colorado understands these products are necessary for daily living and individual dignity. And so, members, today I ask for a yes vote on House Bill 1054. So share the love and don't tax dignity.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Van Bever.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we think about the purpose of this bill and how we are a state that is ever increasingly becoming unaffordable in every level, I wanted to come up and run a friendly amendment, and I want to thank the bill sponsors for bringing a bill such as this forward. It is a very important bill, and I appreciate the heart and the spirit of which you are bringing this to the people of Colorado. The amendment is that we would also include diapers for babies as well as formula. I can't think of more important items to help our families have a stronger beginning than to include these two items in this bill and make them sales tax exempt as well. So that is the friendly amendment, and I ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Can you move the amendment, please?
Yes, sorry. Okay, yeah, and she was supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's a simple question. Oh, because it's the wrong report? Does that make sense, Tanya?
So it was incorrectly given, it was supposed to be done to the finance support, so at the end of the day, we'll have to withdraw it, but I would ask that we take that into consideration.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Van Bever, I want to thank you for bringing that amendment. I apologize that it was not able to be given the discussion because of the way that our processes are with the finance report. But I did want to say that, members, I think that Representative Van Bever brings up a really good point. And I just want to acknowledge that the women of this chamber are really coming together to look at the reasons why we have taxes on certain products and the biasness that is baked into our laws and policies. I don't actually know why formula is not exempt. So, Representative Van Bever, I think that that is something that I would love to work with you on in the future, to figure out what the cost would be to the state of Colorado, to understand why they're not exempt, if they in fact they are not exempt, and to maybe move that forward in an upcoming session. I think that I see nods from the other side of the aisle about why this is an important thing to consider, and I think that is something that we will do. And so, again, thank you for bringing that amendment, and I do ask for an aye vote on the bill.
Is there any further discussion on the bill? Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, esteemed colleagues. Being a father of many daughters and raising a large family, and when I was young, in decades gone by with my wife as newlyweds and bringing our family together into this world, we realized one thing, that diapers and formula were the largest expense that we had in raising our young children. The amendment attempted to include the formula that is fed to many children if they do not do natural feeding of those children. And it is an incredible expense. Now, I'm going to tie this back to where I come from in my district with respect to the bill, and I am in support of the bill with the amendment that I know because of technical reasons cannot be offered, and I think that's being discussed right now in this chamber. We want to give relief to young families in Colorado in 2022 because we are reaching a record high inflation rate of up near 10%. And the young families now in their teens and 20s that are raising these children, these young, beautiful, bouncing babies, have never experienced inflation.
Representative Holtorf.
Yes, Madam
We are
Chair.
not on the amendment. Can you please speak to the bill?
Yes, I'll speak to the bill. I'll speak to the bill. So these young folks need relief. This relief will give them an opportunity. And to the bill sponsors, I hope that diapers are in this. I think I understand that diapers are in this. But there's more to raising those young children. And with inflation at record high, 40-year highs, because of the direction, because of economic policy, because of things that are being done at every level of government.
Representative
Yes.
Fultorf, to the bill, please.
Absolutely to the bill. This type of legislation and more of this legislation is needed to curtail the impact of inflation, particularly to our young families who have never experienced this. In fact, I want to encourage more of this legislation. I want to encourage this legislative body to approve late bill status on a list of things that will give economic relief. So this bill is a start. This bill is a start, but it is not enough, because we are going to see some things that our young couples and our young families have never seen in the history of our country in their lifetime. But some of us have. So I'm in support of this bill, and more actions are needed to help curb this incredibly high inflation that is going to cripple and put an enormous burden on those young families as we move forward in a direction that continues to make Coloradoans suffer.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1055, one bill.
Seeing no objection, 1055 will be laid over. Mr. Shebo, please read the title of 1247.
House Bill 1247 by Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, also Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning requirements for additional supplemental payments for nursing facility providers and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1247 in the Public Health Report.
To the committee report.
That's right. No? Oh, no, it had the appropriation.
The Public Health Committee made some technical changes to the bill, and I ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, our nursing homes are struggling. They have taken in patients during a very tough time through COVID, and unfortunately have had to deal with a lot of the strains that the pandemic has brought upon us. And because of the lack of resources, they are unable at times to take in the patients that they need to take in. This bill will allow them the funding to ensure that they have adequate staffing and funding for their staff, to ensure that they have adequate equipment and safety equipment to ensure that everyone in their home is kept safe, and quite frankly, to ensure that we're not closing down nursing homes or not allowing patients into these homes who need access to that critical care. Instead, they stay in hospital settings that are much more costly and less appropriate for the level of care that they need. This bill will appropriate $27 million to nursing homes, along with a reporting mechanism to ensure that the funding is going exactly where the state needs it to go. I ask for an aye vote.
Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this is a JBC bill. All 6 of us are in support of this effort. You actually put a placeholder in our supplemental package for this funding to make sure that we could provide the critically necessary resources to our nursing facilities during this time. It's no surprise to any of us that during the pandemic, congregate care settings were hit the hardest. We have seen a complete runoff of workforce from our nursing facilities. And these dollars will help recruit and retain and reward those workers who are staying with our nursing facilities and providing this critical care. I'm particularly concerned, I think all of us should be, about the number of employees that are leaving nursing facilities to go work for temporary agencies that are then hired by those same nursing facilities to provide a workforce to take care of their patients. This vicious cycle is creating incredible pressure on the budgets and the fiscal future of some of our nursing facilities that provide critical care to our Medicaid patients. I'm really proud that JBC stood up to say we need to provide additional funding to these care facilities during this time, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1247? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage. Representative Blankenfeld.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
The honor is all mine.
Madam Chair, I'm going to be offering an amendment, so what I'm reading here will be a foundation for that amendment, if you will give me some leeway.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's some tragic and alarming facts that have been publicly reported related to the state's management of the COVID testing program in nursing homes. Curative is a failed testing program that was authorized by $89.2 million no-bid contract after a state official spent a weekend with a vendor investor. The Curative no-bid contract, CDH-PHE awarded a no-bid contract to a testing strip startup founded by a 25-year-old college dropout. The state of Colorado paid this company, Curative Incorporated, $89.2 million to contract COVID testing at a residential care facilities and community health centers. Curative ethics and conflicts of interest. Serious ethical concerns cloud Curative's no-bid contract with the state of Colorado. CDPHE issued the no-bid contract that paid Curative Incorporated $89.2 million after a Curative investor and major political donor of the governor spent a weekend with one of Governor Polis's senior advisors for COVID-19 response to discuss the extraordinary contractual agreement.
Representative Blankenfeld?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm giving you a lot of grace. Can you please go back to the bill?
I am preparing to make a proposal for an amendment to the bill. This is setting.
If you have the amendment, please move it.
Okay, I do have the amendment. Where's the copy? Okay, you already got the amendment. I'd like to make the amendment to the bill. I move Amendment L-002, and I ask for it to be displayed.
The amendment is properly displayed. Please proceed.
Thank you.
Representative Blankenfeld.
What this amendment asks for is that the state auditor's office to conduct a special audit that investigates and analyzes improprieties and management of the testing programs, Curative and eMed, and any other remaining testing contracts.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment?
I'd like to finish reading the basis for the amendment.
Representative
if I may,
Blankenfeld.
Madam. Okay. Documentation has since been revealed that a financial investor in Curative, that new facts obviously there's some new facts. There was an exhibit that was handed out to the Legislative Audit Committee. These new facts obviously creates massive state concerns related to the financial propriety of how this $89.2 million no-bid contract was authorized. The financial investor has also made substantial political contributions to the governor, creating further concerns related to the $89.2 million no-bid contract. The fact that this financial investor spent a weekend with the Colorado Employee Management COVID response efforts was revealed in a document obtained by a reporter through an open records request. The curative investor wrote an email to the company employee who recommended this contract, and Curative CEO in July of 2020, revealing that he spent a weekend with the governor's senior COVID staff member to discuss the multi-million-dollar no-bid contract. I just spent the weekend with our friend, name will go unnamed, and her husband. And he added that the two discussed curative testing. On September 4th, 2020, the state of Colorado issued a no-bid contract to Curative that ultimately paid the new unproven testing company $89.2 million that resulted in a failed testing program. After Curative's investor spent a weekend in Colorado COVID response leader and no bid contract was subsequently granted to Curative, the program proved to be a failure that wasted $80.2 million in taxpayer funds, and more importantly, appears to have jeopardized the health and safety of Colorado's nursing home residents. A doctor, the medical director for a company that runs 30 Colorado nursing homes and regularly advised state officials on pandemic response efforts, concluded that, unfortunately, Curative sold us a bill of goods and wrote directly to the state top health officials to provide a memorandum showing what really cannot be anything but false results by Curative. After local health officials repeatedly cited growing problems with curative testing and the FDA issued warning about curative testing, CDPHE discontinued Curative's testing in Colorado on January 21st, 2021, and stated, based on guidance from the FDA, CDPHE is discontinuing curative testing. Despite these facts, Curative appears to have retained the full $89.2 million from the state of Colorado. Multiple public reports document that the severity of Colorado's mismanagement of COVID testing in nursing homes, while much has been paid to Governor Cuomo's mismanagement of COVID testing in New York's residential nursing homes, Colorado's situation may be worse with severe testing failures, higher death rates, and the underlying no-bid contract being issued and spent a weekend with the testing vendor's financial advisor, who is also a political donor to the governor. Furthermore, on January 8, 2021, the state of Colorado purchased 2 million self-administered, third-party validated rapid testing kits from a separate vendor called eMed. Under the contract, CDPHE is responsible for distributing the test, and eMed is responsible for administering the test. In announcing that program, the governor stated that the state has purchased 2 million at-home COVID testing kits to be delivered to a target population across Colorado. In the program announcement, the governor said, "We know that remote learning is really hurting the participation of women in the workplace, juvenile mental health, childhood hunger, and the loss of learning for our students. That's why since last fall, when students started returning to school, my administration has spared no expense to implement a highly effective layered approach to safety." Despite Colorado's purchasing 2 million tests and committing to delivering tests to target populations across the state, only a small fraction of these tests were ever delivered. The most recent CDPHE data shows that less than 13% of the 2 million tests were delivered for use. Correspondence has revealed that the vendor, eMed, reportedly urged CDPHE and the governor to fix the state's failed distribution system, which delivered the test kits on an individual basis rather than deploying the testing to the local communities so that the test could be utilized. Local and state leaders wrote the governor directly communicating that there are demands for these particular types of tests and urged the state to distribute these tests to local agencies and schools. eMed's CEO, who is the former president of the American Medical Association, even wrote the governor stating that eMed would assume CDPHE's contractual responsibility of delivering the test to local communities in order to successfully complete the program. Remarkably, it does not appear the governor provided a written response to any of these communications, instead ignored the issue entirely while these tests sit in a warehouse pending expiration. The state's management and failure to address this issue appears to have now created a legal liability for the state, and these states' tests are expired in a warehouse while the issue is litigated rather than deploying the test to schools and local communities. The majority of the school-aged children are not yet eligible for COVID vaccines. If there are COVID outbreaks in schools when children return from the summer break, the state's failure to manage this school's testing program will have direct consequences on the public health and safety of Colorado students, teachers, and administrators. Health officials continue to highlight the importance of rapid testing. In an interview on July 29, 2021, a doctor who was assistant professor of epidemiology and immunology at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health noted, the most important aspects of these tests is the rapid result. Waiting 2 or 3 days for laboratory test results isn't ideal when you need results quickly to make decisions about going to school, work, or social gathering. More people should think about at-home testing, rapid testing to keep children raging in other parts of the world. The risk is too high to completely let down our guard with testing. Evidence demonstrates significant
Representative
failures.
Bockenfeld, it's
Yes,
getting
ma'am.
a little away from the amendment. Can you please rear that back a little bit?
Ma'am, I think we talked about curative and eMed testing and a request for an audit, and I think it's important that there be a foundation as to why this request is being made. I know there's a desire to shut me down.
No desire to shut you down, Representative Bockenfeld.
Well, I think we got enough information here to wrap this up and why this amendment's necessary. There was a request in the Legislative Audit Committee that we do an audit on these two programs because of the facts that are in the letter, and there's still some additional facts that I have not completed as of yet. But as you can see, there is a substantial failure that has occurred in our procurement process, and it had a huge impact on nursing homes and the lives of some of the folks in the nursing homes if these tests were false. So it's important that this particular amendment here be approved and added to this bill so that we can go back to the Legislative Audit Committee and request that they perform an audit and get to the real facts and underlying facts relying this issue. It's been reported in the press. Transparency is important to the people in this state, and I ask for an aye vote for this amendment.
Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, the title of the bill concerning requirements for additional supplemental payments for nursing facilities indicates to me that this does not fit, and I would ask for a title ruling from our chair.
The committee will stand in a brief recess to discuss whether the amendment fits under the title. Will the representatives please join me on the side of the chamber for discussion? The committee will come back to order. The chair has ruled that the amendment does not fit under the title. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage.
Madam Chairman,
Representative Bockenfeld.
thank you very much. As I spoke previously, that there was a substantial amount of discussion in regards to this issue in Legislative Audit Committee. And there was discussion in regards if there should be an audit of these nursing homes and in these testing programs in regards to the circumstances that have been brought forward in the press. And for the purposes of transparencies, that we should have gone in and taken a better look at the circumstances and shed some more light on it at the time. In the Audit Committee, as many of you know, the Audit Committee is divided with an equal number from both sides of the aisle. It's one of the few committees that allows that to occur. And when the question was asked of the Audit Committee if they should go ahead and, for transparency purposes and the benefit of our constituents and what has been reported in the press, if we should go in and take a better look and gather some more facts on this issue, that vote died. It died on an equal vote on a partisan basis, and all ties fail. So that's why the purpose is that it's necessary that this current bill, which we can make an amendment to, be able to offer an amendment to revive that issue, and for this body to direct the Legislative Audit Committee to please go in and take a look at these circumstances on behalf of our constituents in full disclosure and transparency purposes. That's why we're here. This is the type of government that our citizens expect from us, to be fully transparent. So that being said, I'm going to propose a second amendment, and that would be I move a second amendment, and I ask for that. It would be Amendment L-003, and I ask that it be displayed.
Representative Bockenfeld, can you please move the amendment?
He said move the second amendment. He needs to say the number.
No, he didn't. Can you just move?
I will go ahead and remove Amendment L-003. It is displayed.
The amendment has properly displayed. Please proceed.
In this particular amendment, it's very similar to that was in Amendment L-002, but what it does, it's asking for the completion of this audit is required before the additional supplemental payment authorized can be made. And so it moves that payment forward and should fit well within the title of this bill.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and appreciate the bill's amendment sponsors to ensure that what he's asking for actually fits within the title of the bill. I think this could potentially fit within that title. But I want to make sure members understand that an audit takes about a year. So what they're asking for in this amendment is to hold up payments to our nursing care facilities for a year, that need nursing home facilities that need this money right now in order to take in patients from hospitals, in order to keep their doors open, in order to pay their staff appropriately. You want to hold this up for a year and play politics with our seniors and our nursing homes? I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Is there any
A
further
no vote.
discussion? Representative McKean.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Folks, a special audit does not take a year. A special audit is something that's already been discussed in front of Audit Committee. The groundwork is there. This audit could take as little as 45 to 90 days to make sure that money is not being spent in a way that we, the people, would not prescribe. This audit can be done quickly. In fact, a special audit has to be done quickly because of the kind of information that needs to be obtained. I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on L003? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of L003. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The noes have it. The amendment is lost. To the bill. Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of, what number are we on? 1247. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes have it. 1287 passes. 1247.
You're fine. You're doing great.
Mr. Shebo, please read the title of 1055.
House Bill 1055 by Representatives Lontine and Harrod, also Senators Jaquez, Lewis, and Winter, concerning a sales and use tax exemption for essential hygiene products.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have resolved the issue brought up by our great representative from Colorado. So I do ask for an aye vote on the bill.
What number are we on going?
All those in favor?
See no further.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1055. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. 1055 is passed. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over Senate Bill 34 until Monday, March 21st.
Seeing no objection, Senate Bill 34 will be laid over until Monday, March 21. Mr. Shebo, please read the title of Senate Bill 108.
Senate Bill 108 by Senator List and also Representative Valdez D. concerning documentation requirements to demonstrate the weight of certain trucks that are more than 4,500 pounds but not more than 10,000 pounds.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I move Senate Bill 108, and there's no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill makes current law that requires that all vehicles that weigh over 4,500 pounds obtain a certified weight certificate before being registered with the DMV. This would change the law to require that a weight slip only be required on those vehicles when an alteration is made to that vehicle. With that, I ask your vote and support on Senate Bill 108.
Van Winkle.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to thank the bill sponsor for bringing this bill, because members, there are few things more important to the people of Colorado than the documentation requirements for out-of-state vehicles that have been altered to over 4,500 pounds. This is a pressing issue for the people of Colorado. You're on top of it. You deserve credit. Thank you, Representative Valdez. And all joking aside, it is a very good bill that does do some good for the people of Colorado. So thank you.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Representative Van Winkle. Appreciate that. And I ask for an aye vote on Senate Bill 108.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 108? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 108. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Senate Bill 108 passes. Now what happens? Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
House will come back to order. Mr. Shebel, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report has under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof and making the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1003 is amended, 1055 is amended, 1068 is amended, 1247 is amended, 1264, 1286 is amended, passed on second reading in order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 108 passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 34 laid over until March 21st, 2022.
Representative Judah. Members, you have heard the motion. There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Shebel, please read the Bockenfeld amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Bockenfeld moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Bockenfeld amendment L003 to House Bill 1247 to show that said amendment passed and that House Bill 1247 as amended passed.
Representative Bockenfeld.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we spoke, what this amendment does is it asks that the Legislative Audit Committee to audit the curative and the EMED contracts that were a no-bid contract that was granted by the state of Colorado, and that there were some improprieties and mismanagement of these programs. Members, as you heard, the no-bid contract regarding the curative and the EMED contract should be further investigated. There may have been people, because of these faulty contracts and what appears to be, and reported by the media, that may have been some improprieties in how these contracts were granted, that some people may have lost their family members in nursing homes. And we need to be transparent. We need to go in and look further and make sure that this is further investigated. And I ask that this amendment, please, for the sake of the families, be approved.
Representative Bockenfeld, do you mind moving the amendment? Representative Bockenfeld.
I move the Bockenfeld amendment to the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Representative Bockenfeld. That has been properly moved and displayed. Representative Herod.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for a no vote on this amendment. These nursing homes need these payments now, today, not after an audit of something that is not relevant to these payments is complete. We need to stop playing politics with our seniors and get them the funding they need. I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Representative Bockenfeld.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a member of the Legislative Audit Committee, I can tell you there's a number of audits that are in the pipeline, and there's no audit more important than this one here. And if this is approved, I'm sure and I'm confident the Audit Committee can reprioritize their current scheduled auditors to put this audit on the fast track. It's important to the families and for the people in the state of Colorado to understand what has occurred. And it should be fully investigated, and we should be transparent. It doesn't need to be delayed. All we need to do is ask for the audit to be expedited. Thank you.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To say this amendment is for political reasons is impugning motives. So I would protest that language. Let's keep it to the merits. I don't think the media reports on some of the things going on with how this money is being managed in a no-bid contract are something that should be ignored or dismissed as political motives.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. And I didn't follow the debate as closely as others since I was off the floor. But I did want to say, I also urge a no vote on this amendment. But know that there is, due to House Bill 1246, and maybe I'm getting the number wrong, from 2019, there is an audit that will be done of all of the federal resources that were spent during the pandemic. And so this is something that we have talked about at Executive Committee. It's something that we have talked about during Legislative Council Committee. And so, again, this process is already in place, and I know that people want to set up a separate process, which is this amendment before you. But again, this is not, the audit is going to happen no later. I think the language is no later and no earlier than sometime in December of this. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but there's like an exact date that the audit will be complete and sent to the legislature.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I think that actually explains exactly why you ought to vote for this amendment. That this further defines what that audit will look at and what will be reported. This amendment says, let's take a look at what happened. Let's be as transparent as possible. Let's not just meld it in with everything else. Let's actually say, for this specific item, this gives more direction to what we should be auditing. I urge an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of the Bockenfeld Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Please close the machine. With 29 aye votes, 34 no votes, and 2 excused, the Bockenfeld Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 23 no votes, and 2 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to labor the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, March 17th.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until Thursday, March 17th. That brings us to announcements and introductions. Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The MIC Caucus is here to remind you that tomorrow is Wear Your Green Day, Celebrate Spring, be all about St. Patrick's.
Minority Leader McKean and Representative McLaughlin.
And bring a little bit of cash because we're going to be helping out refugees from Ukraine. So thank you.
That's it. You did great.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And also, education will be starting in 5 minutes.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Along those lines, Business Affairs and Labor, we're going to start in 5 minutes downstairs in our normal room. See you there.
Any further discussion or any further announcements and introductions? Oh, looks like I got one. Representative Lindsay will replace Representative Michelson Janae on education for today only. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.